Hello and welcome to my little red Jeep. Today I want to do an unboxing in my Jeep, right? So I want to show you this product. I think it's really cool and there's some super slick applications that will solve problems that pretty much nothing else will. So I want to show you the product and then we'll get into some of the solutions it can solve. So here it is. This is the Fryflange from STI. This is a sample kit, which is great because otherwise it probably wouldn't fit very well in my Jeep. So when you open up the sample kit, you get two things. Ready? Clunk. Hang on. Where is it? It's stuck. There. Okay. It's a clip. So we all know that when we have ducts that are larger than 24 inches and they're not insulated and they're not dampered, we have to fire stop them, but not only with the intumescent fire stop product, but we also have to put a retaining angle on that duct on both sides of the wall for any length of duct that's in excess of 24 inches. That's the magic number, because when we look at the coefficient of lineal thermodynamics and we look at the gauge of the metal and the temperature rise in our ASTM E814 fire test, then we run all those numbers and we find that if we have a duct that's 48 inches wide, that expansion, that coefficient of lineal thermodynamics, right? We run those numbers, that 48-inch duct is going to be 48.932 something or other, close to that. Kindergarten math, let's just say it's 49 inches. So when we have that duct, if we're talking about the top of the duct, when that expands, it won't be able to pop up because that's where our wall's going to be. And it's going to be forced to pop down. Now, with that length, the apex, the center of that gap is going to be 1 inch. So it's really important that you don't leave the fire stop, that even though it's intumescent, it's going to expand, it's going to fill that gap. It won't be able to pass the rigors of the ASTM E814 fire test without additional support. So what does that support look like? Basically, I want you to imagine that I've got a jacket on and it's got a button here and a button here. And then I cause tension on the sides. We're going to have one big gaping hole like this. But if I have 10 buttons, we're going to have a bunch of little gaping holes. Now, if we're talking about our duct and we're talking about the intumescent capacity of our fire stop material, our fire stop can fill those little tiny gaps, but not that great big gap and still pass the fire test. So we have to stitch that duct into the retaining angle, not into the wall, right? Remember, that angle is serving a purpose of stiffening our duct and causing those little gaps instead of a great big one. Now, that's where this product comes in, okay? We've got an intumescent piece here, and we have the holes here. So you can just plunk your screws in. Now, the corners have to be fastened, and this corner piece is already pre-drilled. So we'll sit this right here. We align that hole just like that so the screw fits, and then that's going to go on the wall like this. Now we're going to need another angle here. We don't have that because this is just a sample kit and they're short little pieces so that I could show you in my little red Jeep. So that's the product. That's basically how you install it. Please know, however, you do need some coordination. You need to check to make sure that you understand whether or not the opening in the wall needs to be framed out. And you also need to make sure that there's something unique when you use this product. You can only have a maximum 1 inch annular space. With a lot of the other products, you can have a maximum 2 inches. So it's important that you don't exceed the 1 inch annular space. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about one of the really slick ways to use this. And it takes some coordination, but if you're really good at what you do, you're going to love this product and you're going to love this solution. So let's imagine that we have a rated wall and then we have another wall, and it doesn't matter if this is a rated wall or not. This rated wall could continue here, but we have a duct that goes through right here. If you install the duct and then you have a fire stop crew that comes in later and they're like, okay, now we have to fire stop that. How are you going to get fire stop sealant between this wall and the duct that's running right here? It's going to be really tough. So this is where I think this product is super slick. Okay. So we're going to be screwing it into the duct, right? So as the duct is assembled, there's going to be a time where the duct punches through the wall, but it's not entirely intact. So if you get into the duct, coordinate with your contractors, you can put this up. I don't care if you duct tape it, however you get it to stay temporarily in place. And then from the inside of the duct, you can shoot a screw through this device Now, you've got to reach out to STI to find out, are there going to be any requirements for washers or other ways to fasten this, right? You want to make sure that you're installing this in accordance to either a listed detail or an engineering judgment. And that little variation that we're talking about will be different. So we want to know that those screws are going to mechanically attach to our fire stop device so that we know that this will stay in place. Now, once these clips are all fastened, it's probably going to stay in place. But we're talking about life safety, and you don't want to work off of some random lady's probability if it's life safety and your liability. So make sure you get the documentation. But the next time you run into a scenario like that, stop. Think about how you're going to fire stop it and whether or not you'd like to coordinate with the other contractors. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you start paying attention to all of these unique applications. If you learned something, share this with your team. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to me. Thanks for your time. I'll talk to you next time.